New girl saw Jess Day trying to have a fresh start after her boyfriend cheated on her, and before she settled down, she dated various men, all of them with a different story. New girl followed Jess Day, Zoe Deschanel, a bubbly teacher who after finding out that her boyfriend was cheating on her, moved into a loft with 3 strangers she found on the internet. Jess then had to adapt not only to living with roommates Schmidt, Max Greenfield, Nick Miller, James Johnson, and Winston, Lamorne Morris, but also to dating again, something her roommates helped her with. Amid the awkward dates and failed romances, Jess got involved with a handful of men with whom she began a proper relationship, and some of them became so popular with viewers that many believe she should have ended up with one of them and not with Nick. Many of them returned at some point, but the chemistry they once had with Jess was no longer there, while others should have stayed for a bit longer. In total, Jess had 7 serious relationships during the run of New Girl. Spencer. Played by Ian Wolterstorff. Spencer facing off against Nick, Jess, and Schmidt, who are all wearing Jess hats in the 2nd episode of New Girl. The events that kickstart New Girl were all Spencer's fault. If not for Spencer's selfish behavior, Jess never would have moved into the loft and developed strong friendships with her new roommates. While the audience can thank him for that, Spencer is truly the worst of the boyfriends Jess had on the series, and the audience doesn't get to spend much time with him. Jess dated Spencer for 6 years prior to the events of the show. They lived together in his home, where Jess found him cheating on her with a woman named Rochelle. Jess only discovered that he cheated on her when she tried to come home early and surprise him, a story she recounted to her new roommates in the pilot episode of the series. Spencer appeared again in season 1 when Jess called him to get her things back, and thankfully, Spencer and his ego never showed up again, and Jess was finally able to move on. Paul Genslinger. Played by Justin Long. Jess rests her head on Paul's shoulder while they both look at something on his phone in New Girl. Paul Genslinger was a music teacher at the school where Jess worked early in the series. They had a lot in common, such as a sensitive nature and a love for music, to the point where the guys thought of him as the male version of Jess. Paul was Jess' first serious relationship after Spencer. Though their first date, a Thanksgiving dinner, was a disaster, they gave their relationship a chance. When Paul told Jess he loved her, she didn't know how to react, and they broke up. Jess felt he was going too fast, and he didn't want to slow down. They were ready for very different types of relationships at that point, and they needed to go down different paths. Paul returned when Jess, after breaking up with Russell, backslid into bed with Paul, but he was already dating someone else. His new girlfriend and Jess shared a lot of similarities, and it was easy to see why he ended up with her. After confessing what he did, Paul ended up proposing to her in front of Jess.